The digital display on the nightstand glows a soft, steady green. 4:30 in the morning. Before the alarm has a chance to vibrate, I reach out and silence it. My internal clock is calibrated to this hour, a habit formed over 15 years of early mornings. The house is still, wrapped in the heavy velvet silence of pre-dawn. I slide out from under the duvet, my feet finding the cool hardwood floor. There is no rush, only a practiced sequence of movements. I move to the kitchen, guided by the faint moonlight filtering through the blinds. The first task is always the coffee. It is a ritual of precision, much like the work that awaits me. I measure out 30 grams of beans. The grinder whirs, a low, consistent hum that fills the empty kitchen, breaking the beans down into a coarse, fragrant sand. While the kettle heats to exactly 200 degrees, I prepare my travel mug. It is stainless steel, dented slightly near the base, a veteran of 1,000 commutes. I pour the water over the grounds in a slow, concentric circle. The bloom rises, releasing the scent of dark chocolate and earth. I watch the dark liquid drip through the filter, patient and steady. I dress in comfortable layers, soft cotton underneath, a thick wool sweater on top. The temperature in the suite is kept constantly low, and the chill can settle into your bones if you are not careful. I check my bag, badge, ID lanyard, a spare pair of thick socks, a fresh notebook. Everything has its place. I step out the front door and lock it behind me. The air is crisp, carrying the scent of damp pavement and sleeping trees. The streetlights cast long, amber shadows across the driveway. My car starts with a smooth engagement of the engine, the heater fan clicking on to chase away the night's cold. The drive to the medical examiner's office is a solitary pleasure. The highway is a ribbon of gray, largely empty save for the occasional delivery truck or fellow early riser. I keep the radio off. I prefer the sound of the tires on the asphalt, a rhythmic thrumming that clears the mind. I watch the city skyline approach, the skyscrapers just beginning to catch the first hints of navy blue on the horizon. The world is suspended in the space between yesterday and today. I pull into the rear lot of the facility. It is a nondescript brick building, solid and secure. I park in my assigned spot, number 4, right next to the loading bay. The engine cuts out, and silence returns, heavier now. I walk to the staff entrance. The card reader beeps a sharp, high note as I tap my badge against it. The heavy steel door unlatches with a solid mechanical thud. I step inside. The air here is different. It is filtered, scrubbed, and temperature controlled to a constant 65 degrees. It smells of floor wax and antiseptic, a clean, neutral scent that signals safety and order. I walk down the long, linoleum-lined corridor to the locker room. The fluorescent lights overhead hum to life as I pass the motion sensors. In the locker room, I shed my civilian clothes. I fold my sweater neatly and place it on the top shelf. I step into my scrubs. They are seal blue, crisp and laundered. I tie the drawstring at the waist with a double knot, secure but not tight. Next come the shoes. They are rubber clogs, specialized for the environment, offering arch support for hours of standing. I slip them on, feeling the familiar grip of the soles. Finally, I enter the main suite. This is the heart of the building. It is a vast, tiled room, currently dim and dormant. I walk to the main control panel and flip the switches. One by one, the banks of LED lights flood the room with clinical brilliance. The shadows retreat into the corners. The room reveals itself in shades of white and silver. 3 stainless steel tables stand in the center, gleaming and spotless. They are empty, awaiting the day's work. I move to the supply station. I check the inventory. Formalin jars are stacked in rows. Evidence bags are boxed and ready. I pick up a dictaphone from the charging cradle, checking the battery level. It is fully charged. I walk over to the sink and turn on the tap. The water runs clear and cold. I wash my hands, not because they are dirty, but to warm them up, preparing my fingers for the dexterity required later. I dry them thoroughly with a paper towel. The ventilation system kicks into a higher gear, a steady, rushing white noise that drowns out the rest of the world. I lean against the counter and take a sip of my coffee. It is still hot. I look over the whiteboard where the overnight intake list is written in neat black marker. 3 cases today. I am ready. The chaotic world outside is gone. In here, there is only process, evidence, and the quiet satisfaction of finding the truth. The transition from the administrative world to the procedural suite is marked by a ritual of layers. I stand at the scrub sink, the water running warm over my hands. I scrub for a full 60 seconds, the rhythmic friction of the bristles against my skin serving as a mental reset button. I dry my hands with a rough paper towel, then begin the gowning process. First, the plastic apron, cool and light against my chest. Next, the blue surgical gown, its cuffs gripping my wrists snugly. Then comes the mask, the loops pulling gently behind my ears, filtering the air I breathe. Finally, the gloves. I pull on the first pair, a deep nitrile blue. Then the second pair, a stark latex white. I snap the wristbands of the gloves over the cuffs of my gown. The fit is tight, compressing my fingers just enough to heighten my sense of touch. I am sealed in. I am ready. I push through the double doors into the autopsy suite. The air pressure changes instantly. A slight vacuum seal keeps the environment contained. room is a cathedral of stainless steel and shadowless light. The overhead surgical lamps are already illuminated, casting a brilliant, clean white circle upon the table. The only sound is the constant, low-frequency hum of the ventilation system, a white noise that wraps around me like a heavy blanket, drowning out the world outside. My technician, Marcus, is already at the station. We do not need to speak. We have worked this rotation for 5 years, and our movements are synchronized, a quiet ballet of efficiency. He nods once, and I approach the stainless steel table. I reach for the dictaphone hanging from the ceiling on a coiled cord. The plastic is smooth in my gloved hand. I press the record button with my thumb. The tactile click is satisfying. Case number 492, stroke 24, I say, my voice low and steady. The dictation is the metronome of the morning. I begin the external examination. This is a visual inventory, a slow and deliberate scan. I pick up a metal ruler, its edges precise and sharp. I measure a scar on the left forearm, 3 centimeters in length, healed linear. I speak the words, and they are recorded. I set the ruler down. It makes a distinct, metallic clink against the steel tray. Marcus hands me the scalpel. It is a number 22 blade, broad and curved. The handle is weighted perfectly, balanced to rest in the palm without tension. I test the weight for a second. It feels like an extension of my own index finger. I begin the primary incision. The blade moves with fluid grace. I do not press hard. I let the sharpness of the steel do the work. The sensation is smooth, like parting silk. There is no hesitation, only a continuous, confident line. My focus narrows completely. The peripheral world dissolves. There is only the area under the light, the blade, and the task. We move to the internal examination. Marcus steps in with the oscillating saw to open the chest cavity. The tool is loud, but to me, it is just a vibration, a necessary frequency in the room's song. He works quickly, the dust extraction hose hissing softly as it keeps the air clear. When he is finished, he steps back, and the silence returns, heavier and more peaceful than before. I step forward to examine the organs. This is the heart of the flow state. I carefully remove the lungs, feeling their texture. They are light, sponge-like. I place them on the hanging scale. The silver pan sways gently, then settles. I watch the red digital numbers stabilize. 450 grams. I dictate the number. Next, the heart. I hold it in both hands, turning it to inspect the vessels. It is a dense, muscular knot. I take the scalpel again and perform the bread loafing technique, slicing the muscle at regular intervals to check for scarring or blockage. Each slice is uniform, 1 centimeter thick. Reveal, inspect, Slice, reveal, inspect. The rhythm is hypnotic. I lose track of the hour. There is no morning or afternoon here, only the sequence. Liver, spleen, kidneys. Each organ is weighed, the metal pan of the scale clinking softly as it accepts the burden, then springing back up as I remove it. I am not thinking about bills or emails or the traffic outside. My mind is entirely occupied by the anatomy in front of me. It is a puzzle where every piece fits, and my job is simply to observe how they lock together. The tools pass between Marcus and me without a fumble. Forceps, ladle, sponge. We are weaving a tapestry of information. The smell of the room is sterile, chemical, and familiar. It is the scent of answers being found. As I finish the examination of the abdomen, I glance up at the clock on the wall. 2 hours have vanished in what felt like 20 minutes. The flow was perfect. The rhythm was unbroken. I take a deep breath of the filtered air, satisfied, and prepare to conclude the dictation. The transition from the procedure room to the office is a ritual of layers. I step back from the stainless steel table, the morning's work concluded, and begin the process of returning to the standard world. I reach behind my neck and untie the top string of my gown. It falls away loose. I untie the waist. With practiced movements, I shrug the blue material forward, rolling it inside out so that the exterior never touches my scrubs. It goes into the hamper with a soft rustle. Next, the shoe covers. I peel them off one by one, balancing on one foot, then the other, disposing of them in the red bin. Finally, the gloves. I pinch the wrist, pull, and snap. They are gone. I walk to the scrub sink. This is the true demarcation line. I press the foot pedal with the toe of my sneaker. The water engages instantly, a warm and steady stream. I pump the antibacterial soap dispenser 3 times. The liquid is amber and thick, smelling faintly of hibiscus and industrial disinfectant. I scrub my hands up to the elbows. I take my time. I clean under my fingernails. I rinse. I repeat the process. By the time I dry my hands with the rough brown paper towels, my skin feels tight and immaculately clean. I push through the swinging door and enter the corridor. The air changes immediately. The morgue is kept at a constant, chilly 60 degrees to preserve the evidence. The hallway is 70 degrees. I feel the warmth settle on my shoulders like a blanket. The hum of the ventilation system is quieter here, a low background murmur rather than a rush of air. I enter my office. It is a dry space, a sanctuary of paper and glass. I close the door, sealing out the faint chemical scent of the lab. Here it smells of old books and coffee grounds. I sit in my leather chair, the springs creaking softly as they accept my weight. I stretch my neck, tilting my head left, then right, releasing the tension held from hours of leaning over the examination table. It is time for the midday pause. I open the bottom drawer of my desk and retrieve my lunch container. I prefer this quiet solitude to the cafeteria upstairs. I unscrew the lid of my thermos. Steam rises in a thin, curling ribbon. It is tomato soup today. I pour it into the cup. The liquid is bright red and smooth. I take a sip. It is hot, salty, and grounding. I unwrap a sandwich from a sheet of wax paper. The crinkle of the paper is loud in the silent room. I eat slowly, methodically. I am not rushing. I look out the window. My office is on the ground floor, but the window is high up on the wall, offering a view of the sky and the tops of the oak trees that line the parking lot. The sky is a flat, slate gray. A few leaves drift past the glass. I watch them fall. There is a profound sense of peace in this intermission. The morning was about discovery and dismantling. The afternoon will be about reconstruction and recording. Once the meal is finished, I wipe the crumbs from the desk and throw away the wax paper. I screw the lid back onto the thermos. The threads catch and lock tight. Before I begin the heavy dictation work, I attend to the maintenance of my tools. I pull my microscope closer. It is a heavy, black instrument, solid and precise. I notice a speck of dust on the eyepiece. I open a small drawer and take out a packet of lens paper and a bottle of cleaning solution. I dampen the paper with a single drop of fluid. I apply the paper to the glass of the eyepiece. I move my hand in small, gentle circles. The friction makes a tiny whispering sound. I lift the paper and inspect the glass. It is clear. I repeat the process for the objective lenses, turning the turret with a satisfying click for each magnification. 4 times, 10 times, 40 times. Each lens gets a gentle polish. I check my slide box. It is a wooden case with slotted brass rails. I have a stack of glass slides from yesterday's cases that need to be filed. I pick up the first slide by its edges, careful not to smudge the cover slip. The label reads case number 294. I find the corresponding slot in the box. I slide the glass in. It fits perfectly, sliding down the rail until it hits the bottom with a delicate clink. I pick up the next slide, case 295. I slide it into place. Clink. I pick up the third, case 296. Clink. The rhythm is hypnotic. Pick up. Check number. Slide. Clink. My workspace is orderly. Everything is in its right place. The chaos of the biological world is contained here, categorized, labeled, and stored in rows of perfect, transparent glass. I align the stack of files on the corner of my desk, tapping the edges until the paper is flush. I am rested. I am organized. I am ready to begin the afternoon. The final step is the closure. It is the last act of care I perform in this room, a ritual that restores order to the chaotic narrative of the body. I thread the heavy, curved needle with thick twine. The motion is familiar, a movement my hands know better than they know the shape of my own coffee mug. I begin at the bottom of the incision. The needle dips in, turns, and pulls through. I loop the twine, pulling it taut but not tight. This is the baseball stitch. It is rhythmic and neat. In turn, pull. In turn, pull. The silence of the suite is heavy, broken only by the soft friction of the thread and the hum of the ventilation system. I work my way upward, sealing the Y incision with respectful precision. When I reach the top, I tie the final knot. It holds firm. I cut the excess twine with a sharp snip of the scissors. I pick up the hose at the head of the table. The water runs warm and clear. I gently wash the decedent, rinsing away the traces of our work. The water cascades over the stainless steel table, swirling into the drain at the foot. I use a soft sponge to ensure everything is clean. It is a baptism of sorts, a return to dignity. I dry the skin with a white towel, folding the hands over the chest. I cover the body with a fresh, crisp sheet. The exam is complete. The questions have been answered. Now begins the restoration of the room. I move to the instrument tray. Each tool has its place. I pick up the forceps, the scalpel handle, the retractors. They clatter softly as I place them into the wire mesh basket destined for the autoclave. I wipe down the scale, the work surfaces, and the cutting board. The disinfectant spray hisses as it coats the steel. I wipe it away with broad, circular motions. The surface gleams under the bright overhead lights, returning to a mirror finish. I step over to the disposal bin. I peel off my outer gloves, snapping the latex into the trash. I untie the gown at my waist and neck, rolling it inward to contain any contaminants, and discard it. The face shield comes off next, placed on the rack to be sanitized. Finally, the inner gloves. I wash my hands at the deep sink, the scrub brush bristling against my skin. The soap smells of lemon and antiseptic. I rinse for a full 30 seconds, feeling the hot water loosen the stiffness in my fingers. I walk back to my office. The transition from the cool, bright morgue to the warmer, dimmer light of my desk is instant decompression. I sit in my chair, the leather sighing as I settle in. I wake the computer monitor. The screen glows with the preliminary report I started earlier. I type in the final findings. My fingers dance over the keyboard, translating the physical reality of the last few hours into permanent data. Heart rate 350 grams. Lungs clear. Cause of death confirmed. I read through the document once, twice. Everything is accurate. Everything is accounted for. I click the save button. The icon flashes, and the file is stored. I close the program. I pack my bag. My thermos now empty. My notebook. I switch off the desk lamp. The office plunges into shadow, illuminated only by the streetlights filtering through the blinds. I walk down the long hallway, my footsteps echoing softly on the linoleum. I badge out at the rear exit. The electronic lock beeps, a final sign-off for the day. Outside, the evening air is cool and smells of rain on asphalt. I walk to my car, the gravel crunching beneath my shoes. I slide into the driver's seat and close the door. The sound of the outside world is instantly muffled. I start the engine, feeling the vibration travel up through the steering wheel. I do not turn on the radio. The hum of the tires on the pavement is the only soundtrack I need. The drive home is a shedding of layers. With every mile, the clinical detachment fades, replaced by the comfort of the personal. I watch the red tail lights of the cars ahead of me, a river of light flowing toward the suburbs. I turn into my driveway. The garage door rumbles open. Inside, the house is quiet. I leave my shoes by the door. I go straight to the shower, turning the water as hot as I can stand. The steam fills the enclosure. I wash my hair, my face, scrubbing away the mental residue of the morgue. I dry off with a thick, fluffy towel. I put on loose cotton pajamas. I check the locks on the front door. I turn off the kitchen light. I pour a glass of water and drink it standing by the window, looking out at the dark yard. Everything is still. I climb into bed. The sheets are cool and smooth against my legs. I pull the heavy duvet up to my chin. The weight of the blankets is grounding. I close my eyes. My body feels heavy, sinking into the mattress. My mind replays the day in brief, abstract flashes, the weight of the heart, the shine of the steel, the click of the keys. But they are distant now. I have done my job. The answers are found. The file is closed. My breathing slows. The rhythm of the day dissolves into the rhythm of sleep. In and out. In and out. Deep, restful, and complete.